much of my blog content or watched my YouTube videos, my name's Bria, and I'm an associate of the Society of Actuaries, the SOA, and that means that I've passed exam P and FM and all the other exams that you need to pass in order to become an associate. Right now, there are 7 exams that you need to pass to be an associate, but when I did it, there were only 5, so I got off a little easier than you guys have it. I went to the University of Waterloo and got my first full-time job in Waterloo at a life insurance company. But before that, I had 2 different actuarial internships and some other insurance-related experience. So I do have a lot of knowledge about getting a job and working in the actuarial field. About a year and a half ago, I decided to quit my actuarial job and concentrate full-time on helping people just like you to pass their actuarial exams and get their first full-time job. So now I have 2 programs, the study strategy program, where I guide people step by step on passing their first 2 exams, exam P and FM. And I also have a job search program where I help people get jobs, get internships. So those are the 2 things I'm focusing on right now, and that's why I have so much experience and I'm able to help you guys do the same as I did. And I've helped so many other people, so I know these things that I'm going to tell you, they work. So make sure you're paying really good attention. Okay, quick look at questions here. Okay. Yeah, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A section, please. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can, but there's going to be a lot. So try to keep them related to the content that's actually being presented. Those questions are going to be the ones that I answer first, the ones that are related. Okay, so right now, as you guys probably know, the job market for the actuarial career is pretty competitive. There are fewer jobs available than there are people looking for them. There are tons and tons of people that find out about the actuarial career each year, and it's such an awesome opportunity and an awesome career that people want to be actuaries. But unfortunately, the demand for actuaries is just not as high as the number of people looking for them. That was very different several years ago. It used to be the other way around, where there were tons and tons of jobs, but not as many people that knew about the career, that were interested in the career. So it was easier to find a job back then, but now we're in a competitive job market, so it is a lot harder. There are lots of people looking for these jobs. So if you want to be one of those people that are considered for actuarial positions that are open, you'll have to be right at the top of the pack. You'll have to be the candidates that are really very competitive and they have everything that the employer is looking for. So you have to make sure that you are constantly improving and making sure that you are the best candidate you can possibly be. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this training. I'm going to tell you how you can go from whatever you're at right now, wherever you are, whatever stage you're in, and show you how you can go from that stage to being one of the top candidates and hopefully get a job in 2020 or an internship. Okay, so as you know, there is a lot of time and work and effort that you have to put in before you even can work as an actuary. So there are exams that you have to pass, there's technical skills that you have to gain, there's some experience that you might have to get before employers will even consider you. So that means that you have to be willing to work hard in order to make yourself stand out. Becoming an actuary isn't something that you can just put in the bare minimum amount of work and hope that you get a job. You have to be working hard, you have to be consistent, you have to be open to investing in yourself and improving your skills, and you have to change your mindset from I can't get a job, or I'm not going to get a job, or I'm probably not going to get a job. You have to change it from that kind of mindset to a mindset where you have to just do whatever it takes and just know that if you keep on trying and keep on improving yourself, eventually you will be one of those top candidates and you will be considered for actuarial positions and you will get one. So one of the big things that I'm going to be talking about is just that there's no, like, everyone here has the opportunity to be an actuary if that's what you want and you're willing to work for it. But you are going to have to continually be improving yourself and making sure that you gradually move up to one of those top level candidates that the employers are going to be hiring and interviewing. Okay, so if you stick around to the end of the training, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in 2020 to make sure that you are one of those top candidates by the end of the year. And if you follow everything that I say here, you're really going to have an excellent chance of getting a job. But remember, you cannot be afraid to invest in yourself. You constantly have to be improving and learning, and you have to change your mindset from it's not if you'll get an actuarial job, it's when. What can you do now to improve yourself, make yourself more qualified for those jobs, and then get one? Okay, I'm going to have a quick look here if there are any questions related to what I've already said. Okay. How likely is it to get an internship after passing the first 2 exams despite a 3.0 GPA? Well, like I said, you have to constantly improve yourself. So if you want to get an internship and you've passed 2 exams, that's a great first step. You have to look what employers want. A lot of employers want technical skills, and you have to have a good resume. So even if your GPA isn't as high as you would like it, which 3.0 is a little on the lower side, but I bet you could still get an internship if you really work on improving in other areas so that you are one of those top candidates that employers want. So keep on improving and you will be able to. It's just a matter of when. Okay. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the timeline here. So I know a lot of you have already passed some exams, some of you haven't. A lot of you are saying that you're currently studying for an exam. So I know because I was in the same situation. When you're starting your actuarial career, you probably feel kind of lost. You don't know when you're supposed to start studying for exams. You don't know when to start looking for a job. You don't know how to get a job. And there's just so much to know because it's such a specialized career. It's not like you can just look at general websites about general information and learn how to get an actuarial job. And unfortunately, there's just not a lot of information online. So I completely understand if you're feeling kind of overwhelmed with this whole process, but I'm here to help you. But first, I guess we'll go through this timeline. Make sure you're listening very closely because I want to make sure that you understand this and implement it. That's the most important thing. Everything that you learn on this webinar, make sure that you are implementing it. Write notes, make sure that you remember what I've said. I will send out a replay later for those of you that want to rewatch, but make sure that you are taking notes. Okay, so my recommended timeline means that you have to have passed at least 2 exams by the end of September. Most employers will start hiring for internship positions and full-time entry-level jobs around the end of the year. So from October to December of 2020, that's when the majority of employers are going to start posting their summer internship positions and their full-time entry-level jobs that will start in May of 2021. So the goal for you is to be done at least 2 exams by the end of September 2020. Yeah, like I said, a lot of employers tend to hire closer to the end of the year because that's when they're thinking about the new interns that they need for the summer and the new entry-level positions that they're going to make available. But you can apply to positions all year long. They're still posting. It's just that you're going to see a lot more positions from October to December of each year, and they'll be hiring for the next year. Okay, so generally, what employers are looking for if you are looking for internships is they want someone that has passed at least one actuarial exam. So usually that would be exam P or FM. Or if you're looking for an entry-level job, they're probably going to want at least 2 or 3 exams passed. If I were you, I would aim for having 3 exams passed when you start looking for entry-level jobs. And for people looking for internships, you'll want to have at least 2 exams passed. That is what is going to put you at the very top of those candidates that I talked about. As well, for both people looking for internships and full-time jobs, you're going to want to have a very good understanding of Excel. If you have experience in the workplace using Excel, that's even better. And generally, a good resume gets you a long way. So whether you're looking for an internship or a full-time job, you're really going to want to make sure that your resume displays and really shows employers how good you are. I've seen people have come to me before, and they are very well qualified for positions, for entry-level positions or internships, but unfortunately their resume just doesn't show it all that well. You really need to make sure that what you're putting on your resume shows employers that you are qualified for the positions that you're applying for. It's so important. So you'll need to have a good resume. And for people that are looking for entry-level positions, it's really helpful if you already have some related experience. And that's going to help so much in getting a position. So I know that was a lot. I'm going to go over those really quickly. So for interns, you'll want to make sure that you have at least 1 to 2 exams passed. 2 exams would be preferable. You'll want to have some Excel experience. And you want to make sure that your resume really shows employers how well qualified you are for the position that you are applying for. For people looking for full-time entry-level positions, you're going to want to have at least 2 to 3 exams passed, preferably 3. You're going to want to have Excel knowledge. You're going to want a very good resume that shows employers that you are qualified for the position that you're applying for. And you're going to want some past related experience. So when I say related experience, I mean maybe a data analyst position, anything involving a lot of statistics, maybe a position at an insurance company that had you working with the insurance products and now you have a really good understanding of how they work. Anything like that that is applicable to actuarial work will be really good to have on your resume. So if right now you're trying to find entry-level actuarial jobs and you're having a tough time with that because you don't have any experience, it might be it definitely would be a good idea for you to also be applying for related jobs so that you can hopefully get one of those, which will build up your experience, and then you can start applying for actuarial jobs. Okay, so hopefully that was all clear. And now you're probably wondering how you should go about doing all this in 1 year. So I'm going to start with the people that have passed 0 exams so far. So I would recommend that someone that has currently passed 0 exams writes their first exam in April. So that would be exam FM. If you are at exam FM in April and then exam P in September, then that means you're going to have passed 2 exams by the end of September, and then you can start applying for actuarial jobs or internships in October and onward in 2020. But between those two exams, between exam FM and exam P, there should be a little bit of time there where you can spend looking for a job. Even though you will only have one exam passed at that time, you can still look for a job, but it's just less likely that you'll find one with only one exam passed. And you can also be learning Excel during that time. So if you don't already know, I recommend at least 14 weeks to prepare for one exam. For exam P and FM, I advise 14 weeks. So that means if you're starting right now, you can be ready for FM in April and then take a little break to do a quick job search and work on your Excel skills. And then you can take another 14 weeks to prepare for exam P in September. Okay, and now for people that have just passed one exam so far, that's probably exam P or FM, you're going to want to take, if you've already passed exam P, then you should also take exam FM in April. But if you've already passed FM, then you should try taking exam P in March. And then once you pass those exams, you will immediately start studying for July's IFM exam. So that means you're going to try to pass 2 exams in 2020 as well, so that by the end of September, you'll have 3 exams passed. And that will put you in a really good position for entry-level actuarial jobs. And for those of you that have 2 exams passed, I'm going to get to questions in a minute. So if you have any about this topic, put them in the Q&A section. For those of you that have 2 exams, it's probably exam P and FM, you're going to want to focus on passing exam IFM in July of 2020. And you don't have to start studying for that one quite yet. I'd advise starting around the end of February. But until the end of February, that's when you should be working on your Excel skills. And also you can do some initial job search, see if you can get a job with just the 2 actuarial exams passed so far. Okay, so hopefully those guidelines help you a little bit. I will get to questions right now. I'm going to answer questions that are related specifically to what I've been talking about. Okay, Jasmeet says, what if I pass 3 exams before my first internship? Is that bad? No, that is not bad. That's great, actually. A lot of people say that it's bad to pass too many exams. With 3 exams, that's not a concern. They're talking about people that have passed 4 or 5 exams. That if you've passed 4 or 5 exams before you get your first internship, that might not be the best situation. I wouldn't say it's necessarily terrible, but with 3, you should be fine. I wouldn't worry about that at all. What is the timeline to finishing the Excel learning? Okay, so typically I recommend you working on your Excel learning between studying for exams. So obviously the sooner you can learn Excel, the better, because you'll be able to put that on your resume, and that will be helpful in getting actuarial positions because actuaries need to know Excel. It's used for so much of the work that actuaries do that it is a crucial skill for actuaries to know. So the sooner you can learn it, the better. Okay. Oh, there are a lot of questions here. Do you need Hi guys, sorry I lost you guys. Please put your questions back in the Q&A box. They all went away. I was just reading a question though that said, do you need to be a student to get an actuarial internship? The answer is that typically employers are looking for someone that is still in school. I'm in Canada, and I actually happened to get an internship after I was already done school. So it's not the same for every single company. Sometimes you can get internships even after you've already graduated, but most of the time, employers are looking for people that are still in school. So I would definitely advise you to still apply for internships even if you are out of school, but it's less likely that you are going to get them. Okay, let's keep moving on now. So I forgot to tell you that I know this can be a lot of information. At the end of this training, I am going to let you guys know how you can join the study strategy program or the job search program if you are interested. Just for members of this call, I'm actually offering a special offer for you guys, just because I did see a lot of people asking about Excel in the question area. So if you join the study strategy program or the job search program tonight, I am going to include free access to one of my 2-hour online live Excel training sessions that I'm going to be doing in 2020. I'm going to be having those throughout all of 2020. So if you decide to join one of those 2 programs tonight or tomorrow, you're going to be able to get free access to one of those Excel training sessions, a 2-hour session with me. It will be a small group of people, and we're all going to go through Excel, and I'm going to be it's very interactive. I'll show you how to use it and all the different functionalities that it has that you will be using on the job. So if that's something that interests you, I will put a link to that in the chat room. You'll have to use coupon code Excel1 at checkout to get that free pass to one of the 2-hour live Excel sessions. Okay, I'll take one more question here. Let's find one that is related. Okay, this one. I will take exam P next month. What to put on my resume to hire me with 0 experience. I have a bachelor in stat with no job experience. I am a stat and math tutor at my university. What do you mean related experience? Okay, well, related experience can be anything from a data analyst job. It can be someone that works a lot with statistics, data entry, someone maybe that was involved in insurance, knows all about insurance products and stuff like that. Underwriting is another good related experience, but a lot of the time you can make your current experience related to actuarial work, and that's what's really important to do on your resume, because a lot of the time I just see people put what they did at an actuarial or at their previous let me start that over. A lot of the time I see people just put specific tasks that they did at their past jobs. And while that's good, it's not great in showing how you have got related experience. Like, for example, a math tutor does lots of things that would be beneficial for an actuarial career. For example, a lot of the time I find that people that have done math tutoring have used Excel to do some analytical work. Like maybe you've looked at student grades and you've been able to see trends in grades, and maybe that told you what kind of topics needed to be worked on. Sometimes I've seen people use Excel because they've been tracking student grades and they use Excel to calculate the final mark. It's just, sometimes it's thinking outside the box how the experience that you already have is related to actuarial work. And that's something I help with a lot in my job search program. In that program, I review your whole resume and help you work through, I talk with you about the different jobs that you've had in the past, and I try to come up with ways that those are actually related to actuarial work so that we can really show employers how well qualified you are for actuarial positions, even if you might not have the most related experience. However, it's always a good idea to get experience that is as close as possible to actuarial work, because that's going to really put you at the top of those people that are applying for the positions. Okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, so next we are going to talk about passing exams and your job search, okay? So like I said, in 2020, you're going to have to work on a combination of passing exams, Excel, and your job search. For passing exams, for those of you that haven't already passed an exam, is extremely hard, and I'm sure the people that have passed exams already know how hard they are. They're different than exams that you've ever taken before, and the pass rate on those is about 50%, which means that each month, when people take the exam, only about 50% of those people are passing. And what is even more surprising is that those 50% that pass includes people that have written it once or twice or 3 times or maybe 4 times before. So the percentage of people passing on the very first time is fairly small. These are difficult exams. So what I found works really well, and this is what I do in the study strategy program, is creating a structured study plan. So if you are trying to pass your first exam, or if that is your first step, then you're going to want to make sure that you have a very structured plan. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, I want you to think to when you were in school, or maybe you still are. When you went to class, you probably on the very first day got a long syllabus of everything that you were going to learn throughout the term. It was maybe 1 or 2 pages long, maybe even 3. And it probably felt a little bit overwhelming. There's probably tons of stuff on there that you have no idea what it is, you've never seen before, and you know that you're going to have to learn all that stuff. But throughout the term, your professor goes through each subject slowly. Each day you learn a little bit more, and there are assignments that you have to do to make sure that you're keeping up with the information and everything that the teacher is teaching each day. There are also midterms that make sure that you're keeping up with everything that you've been taught. So when I say a structured study plan, what I mean is learning a little bit every single day, and then making sure that you have some accountability to make sure that you're actually doing that. So studying for actuarial exams is really completely different. It tends to be completely different than what you would get in a class, because there's no teacher teaching you a little bit every day. There's no assignments and deadlines to keep you on track. But if you are able to implement some structure into your studying, it's going to make such a huge difference, because you'll actually find that you're very consistent with your studying, and you get studying done when you otherwise wouldn't without the structure. So what I do for members of the study strategy program, and this is something you can do too, is that I get a whole calendar, and I break down exactly what they need to do, what members need to do every single day, so that they can go to their calendar and they can look what they need to do for their studying each day. And it's just a very small little chunk of studying that they need to do each day. And that helps them get through what seems like a ton of information. It helps them get through it chunk by chunk. And like I said, in a classroom setting, you have assignments and you have midterms, and those have specific due dates when you have to have your studying done by. Having those due dates really forces you to stay consistent, because you have to go back through everything that you've been taught and make sure you understand it well, so that you can get a good grade on your assignment or on your exam. Well, in the study strategy program, accountability comes from me checking in on the members. So every Monday or Thursday, I go into their study schedule and I make sure that they are on track with their studying. But for you, you might, if you decide not to join the study strategy program, you can still create a daily schedule for yourself so you know exactly what you need to do between right now and your exam day so that you're fully prepared by the time exam day comes around. You can break down everything you need to do into small little tasks and make sure that you put a small task on each day. So by the time you get through all of that, you're fully prepared. And then for the accountability portion, you can find a friend or someone else writing the exam, or maybe you have a family member that can help keep you accountable to that schedule. Constantly check in with you and make sure that you're actually doing your studying. Accountability is so important because consistency is important. There's so many people that fail exams because they don't fit in enough studying. And actually, I believe that is the number one reason why people don't pass their exam is because they don't fit in enough studying. And it's totally understandable because there's so much going on in everyone's life. Like maybe you have school, maybe you have a family, maybe you have jobs. There's so much going on that it's hard to make studying a priority when it's just something that doesn't necessarily need to be done, when there's no due dates and timelines. So accountability is crucial, it's so helpful, and it's really going to make a difference in your studying. And on top of that, like the study plan or the study timeline that I gave you, it requires passing 2 exams in 2020 for most of you. And that is, and it's not just in 2020, it's within 8 months. So that's not much time in there. That's only 8 months to pass 2 exams. So having that extra accountability is really going to keep you pushing, keep you focused and motivated to keep going even when you may not want to, because that is a lot of studying to do every day, well, most days, for 8 months. Okay. So if you have any questions about that, please put them in the Q&A section. Make sure they are related to what I've been talking about. I'm going to talk a little bit here first about getting a job, and then I'll go answer your questions. So just keep putting your questions in the Q&A box if you have any. So for getting a job, the most important factor is your resume. And honestly, I believe that your resume can make or break your career. If you do not have a good resume, then it doesn't matter if you apply to 100 positions, you are not going to get hired, unfortunately. There's just so many people applying to these actuarial positions that if you don't have a resume that stands out, then you're not going to be hired. But the good news is that you can make your resume good. And like I said, you can keep on improving yourself to keep on improving so that you are at the very top of that pack of candidates that are applying. When I say a good resume, I don't necessarily just mean your experience. I mean how you display that your past experience is related to a position that you are applying to. I mean that it's formatted well. I also mean that there are no grammatical errors or spelling mistakes. It's really important that your resume is well made. It's created very well, because that is what employers look at. That is how they judge you, and that is what is going to get you in the front door. Okay, so if you really want to make your resume stand out, you have to make sure that you have someone in an actuarial profession reviewing your resume. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that, because they are not specifically familiar with the actuarial field, it's difficult for them to advise you on how to create a good resume. I've found this a lot with recruiters that are trying to help people find jobs, but if they don't really know about the actuarial career, then they're generally not the best person to ask to review your resume. Also, school counselors often don't really know all that well about the actuarial field. So it's best if you can get people that are actually in the field to review your resume. And that's really important because they know what employers are looking for. And it's just going to be the best option for you when you are preparing and creating your resume. So if you haven't had someone review your resume that is in the actuarial career, definitely make sure you do that before you start applying. Each employer is getting hundreds of applications for every single actuarial job that they post. So you want to make sure that yours is one of the good ones. You don't want them to just skip over it. You want to make sure that there's no reason, no easy reason, like maybe bad formatting or spelling mistakes, that is going to cause them to just throw your resume out right away without even looking at it. Okay, so to recap what I've just talked about, to pass these exams to pass 2 exams in 8 months, you're really going to need some structure in your studying. You need a plan on how you're going to get from wherever you are right now to being fully prepared by exam day, and you also need accountability. Those 2 things together are going to really increase your chances of passing both those exams on the first attempt. If you didn't notice, there isn't room for failure in that timeline that I gave you. You need to be passing both of them the first time. So you really need to take it seriously when I say that you need structure and accountability, because that is the best way to make sure that you pass. For those of you looking for a job, or when the job time comes, when you start looking for that, you need to make sure that you have someone in the actuarial profession review your resume and make sure that your resume really displays how you are qualified for the position that you are applying for. If you don't have related experience, think about ways in which the experience that you do have could be related to an actuarial position. It's really important that you do this rather than just listing a whole bunch of tasks that you did. You need to be showing how those tasks are related to what an actuarial employer will be looking for. Okay, so time for questions on this topic. Don't forget, if you are interested in joining the study strategy program or the job search program, you can get free access to one of my 2-hour live Excel training sessions if you join today or tomorrow. Links are in the chat room, so go check those out. You have to use coupon code Excel1 in order to get that free access to the Excel course or training. Okay, questions. How much do grades on past exams matter to employers? Generally, employers aren't going to care much about what your grades were. A lot of them won't even ask. So it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you pass. That's the most important thing. Generally, I don't advise putting your grades on your resume unless you got like 10s or 9s on every single exam that you've taken so far. But yeah, so employers don't generally care about that, and a lot of the time they won't even ask. Okay, will employers ask how many times you took the exam? Some employers might ask how many times you've taken an exam. Most of them probably won't. Primarily, employers care that you've passed exams. So you want to make sure that you're passing exam P and FM as soon as possible and as quickly as possible so that you can start applying to these internships and jobs. That's what employers are going to look at. That's what they're going to care about. So passing exams is more important than how many times you took the exam or what your grade was. Primary focus for actuarial employers is that you have passed the exams. Okay. Okay, how much do you know about job searches in the USA? Is it very similar to Canada? So I'm actually from Canada, and as far as I know, the job search process is you guys say process, I say process. Process is very similar in Canada and the US. Generally in Canada, people tend to have a few more exams passed when they're applying for jobs than they do tend to have in the US. But other than that, the job search process is pretty much the same in both Canada and the US. Okay, one more question here. If we've passed 2 SOA exams, but GPA is lower than a 3.0 on our degree, do we still have a chance of getting an entry-level job? The answer is it's going to be more difficult, but like I said before, it's about mindset. If you are willing to go the extra mile, pass those exams, learn Excel, get related experience, like I don't see how an employer can possibly turn someone down that is so well qualified in every area except they have a poor GPA. Yes, it's going to be more difficult, but like some employers automatically don't even look at resumes if the GPA is below a certain score, but there are employers that don't do that. So you're going to have to apply to a lot of positions too, and you will find those employers that don't care as much about your GPA, and just do whatever it takes to make yourself the best candidate possible. Okay, sometimes GPA can hold people back, but I honestly believe that if you are willing to put in the effort and excel in all the other areas, that employers will consider you. Maybe not every employer, but there will be some out there that will take the chance to at least interview you, and then a good interview can lead to a job. So I wouldn't let that completely destroy your confidence or anything. Just do whatever it takes to make yourself the best possible candidate you can be. Okay, let's keep moving on here. It's almost 8 o'clock for me anyway. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I've already talked about this a little bit, is that you need to have an improvement type mindset when it comes to an actuarial career. You're never done. You have to make sure that you are constantly on a mission to be the best possible candidate you can be. If you pass one exam and then you start applying to actuarial positions, it's unlikely that you're going to get one, especially if you're looking for full-time entry-level positions, because you only have one exam. But the next step is to pass another exam. And then the next step after that is to make sure you have a really good foundational knowledge of Excel. And then get a related job. Just do whatever it takes to make sure that you are the best possible candidate that you can be. I know many of you out there are worried about whether you're too old, or whether your GPA is too low, or whether you didn't take the right majors in school, or so many other factors. But by worrying about those factors, you're probably just holding yourself back from fully going towards your goal. And I know your goal is to become an actuary. So you might be feeling a bit of lack of motivation or a lack of focus because you're just not convinced that you will get an actuarial position. But honestly, I am a full believer that if you are willing to put in the effort and the time that it takes to do whatever it takes to get an actuarial job, that you will eventually get one. It's not a matter of if you'll get one, it is a matter of when you'll get one. You constantly have to be improving yourself. When you're searching for a job, you want to continually be making yourself a better and better candidate. And that means passing exams. That means learning how to use Excel. That means getting related experience. And that means making sure that your resume really displays how you are qualified for the positions that you're applying for. So what exactly does that mean for you? Firstly, it means that you have to be willing to invest in yourself. If you don't know how to use Excel, invest in yourself, figure out how you can learn Excel. Maybe you have to invest time, maybe you have to invest some money, but an actuarial job is your dream. So take the time now, invest in yourself, and learn Excel. Like, remember, put this in perspective. Like, the job that you are trying to get pays $50,000 or more right off the bat, like entry-level position. You have to be willing to invest in yourself a little bit now in order to make that a reality. And the amount that you are going to invest in yourself is nowhere near what you're going to make in the future. So really just look for opportunities. Like, if you're having trouble getting interviews, then find someone to help you improve your resume, someone that can help you fix it up and make sure that it really aligns with what employers are looking for. If you're having trouble learning Excel, go watch videos, buy a course, join one of my Excel live training sessions. Just do what you need to, and don't let small obstacles like this stop you from pursuing your dream. Like, every obstacle is solvable. Okay, so let me know in the comments right now what obstacles are getting in your way right now. Maybe we can go through a few of those and just figure out how you can solve those issues so that they're not stopping you anymore. I know this can be something that holds people back from pursuing a dream, and I just hate to see small things like this hold people back from such a big opportunity and a dream that you have. Okay, so if you have questions about this, put them in the Q&A section. Just a reminder that if you are interested in joining the study strategy program or the job search program, you can use coupon code Excel1 at checkout, and you'll be able to get free access to one of my online 2-hour live Excel training sessions that I'm going to be holding in 2020. So those sessions are worth over $100, but you'll get one free just by joining either program either tonight or tomorrow. I'll put that in the comments again, or in the chat room again for you guys. Okay, here Gina is having this obstacle. I don't think I'm finding all the jobs to apply for. I don't know if I'm searching for jobs in the best way. Okay, Gina, well, what you need to do in this situation is you need to find a bunch of job boards and type actuary in there, and actuary in your general area, your state or whatever. Job boards, you can look at companies' websites that are around you. A lot of them will have a careers section where they're posting for positions. If you are in school, a lot of the time they'll have opportunities for students posted somewhere. There might be a job board. And I don't necessarily mean work at the school or for the school. I mean that they might have connections with companies around in the surrounding areas that have posted jobs right, like directly with the school. So that's another good place to look. Okay. Okay, I'll move on to some questions here quickly. What kind of internships are preferred and where to look for them? Look everywhere. I didn't mention this earlier, but when I say you have to go out of your comfort zone, continually improve yourself, that might mean that you have to accept an internship or an entry-level position that isn't in your preferred geographical area. You might have to move away for a few months or maybe a year to get the experience that you need, and then eventually you can move back and you'll have experience, and it'll be much easier to get a position in your preferred geographical area. So that kind of works into what I was talking about, is don't let obstacles hold you back. If you are confining yourself to a very small area, go out of that geographical area, look for jobs further out. And I know that it's not ideal to have to do that, but if this is your dream and you really want an actuarial position, then you have to be willing to make a little bit of compromise once in a while. Okay, Ashwin is finding it difficult in his location to find internships around there. So that's kind of relates to what I was just talking about. You may not have actuarial internship opportunities in your general area. You might have to go away for a while. Maybe you move, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours away for 4 months. That is definitely worth it. The experience of an actuarial internship is so beneficial in getting a job. And I honestly think that if you got that actuarial internship position, that you'd have such a good chance of getting a full-time job. So it's well worth it to move away for a little bit in order to get that experience. Okay, a couple more questions here. What if I want to pursue P&C but only see life insurance internships? I say do not confine yourself to one type of insurance. I always thought that I wanted to go into P&C insurance. I ended up going into life insurance, and it was honestly just as good. Like I loved life insurance. So I wouldn't confine yourself to one path. If there are P&C opportunities around you, apply to them, even though you want to go the life direction. One of the good things about internships is that it's not necessarily permanent. It is a temporary position. So by going into a life insurance position, you might learn some things that you didn't know before. You definitely will. And even that life insurance experience will be related to the actuarial field, and it will help you in getting jobs in P&C later if you still decide that you want to stick with the P&C side of insurance. Okay. Now, I'm going to continue answering questions later. I just want to, it won't be too much later, 5 minutes later. Really quickly, I just want to explain to you guys about the study strategy program for those of you that need to start studying for your exams, and the job search program for those of you that are looking for your first full-time job or an internship. So the study strategy program is something I've been doing for about 2 years now, and it helped hundreds of people on their journey to passing their first actuarial exam. So in this program, I guide you step by step on exactly what you need to do to fully prepare for your first exam. I break down everything that you should be doing every single day, so you'll have a step-by-step plan. You will not feel confused, you won't feel lost, you'll avoid tons of common mistakes that people make, and having this will help you pass those exams as quickly as possible. I know a lot of you really want to be well prepared for entry-level positions by the end of 2020. So you need to pass these exams quickly. You need to start now. And joining the study strategy program is a really good way to do that, because you're getting all the guidance and support of someone that's helped hundreds of others, who's done it themselves too. And it's just the best way to make sure that you pass the exam quickly and aren't making any mistakes. You're always focusing on the tasks that are most beneficial to you. And along with that, you get the structure and accountability. I mentioned before that the #1 reason that people don't pass actuarial exams is because they don't fit in enough study time. And I know that's a huge issue for people being so busy today. It's just having someone checking in and making sure that your studying is actually getting done makes a huge difference. I bet all of you can think of times when you wanted to do something, but you kept on putting it on the back burner, and it just keeps sitting there and never gets done because there's so many other things that are higher priority. Well, if you had someone that said this is due at a specific time, then you would probably be more likely to make sure that that gets done. Accountability is such a huge factor in meeting and meeting your goals, pretty much. Okay, and in the study strategy program, I also offer the pass guarantee, which means that if you are unsuccessful in the program, I pay for your next $225 exam registration fee. So when you go to sign up for an actuarial exam, the SOA requires that you pay $225 just to register and take the exam. Well, if you are in my study strategy program and you don't pass, then I will pay that $225 exam fee for you the next time when you retake the exam. Okay, and that's the study strategy program. I'd love to work with you. There are tons of other people in there that have already passed their exam or they're currently writing their exam, and lots of people come back for their second and third exam. So it's really beneficial for people, and I highly recommend you check it out. There is a link in the comments or in the chat right now where you can go to get that or to check it out. And remember, if you use Excel 1 in the coupon code area, either tonight or tomorrow, you'll be able to qualify to get my free access to my 2-hour live Excel training. Now, I talked about this earlier. Excel is crucial for actuary. You need to know it. It needs to be on your resume. So that's really going to be a beneficial thing to have. And it's over $100, worth over $100 just to get into one of those sessions. So if study strategy program sounds like something that can help you, highly recommend joining tonight or tomorrow. Okay, and the resume or the job search program is kind of different. It's similar in the sense that I guide you step by step on what you need to be doing each and every day to get your first entry-level job or an internship. But there's also a full resume course in there, so you can go through there, figure out how the experience that you have can be related to actuarial work. And in that program, you'll also get a full resume critique from me. I'll help create your resume and adjust it so that it is as good as it can be, and you can start applying for actuarial positions right after we do that. And I'll set up a full schedule for you with everything that you need to do in order to keep working on your job search and make sure that by the end of 2020, you're in the best possible position to get an actuarial position. Okay, so like I said, if you use coupon code Excel1, you'll be able to get the Excel training session with that program too. So either one you can join. If you join tonight or tomorrow, then you'll be able to get the Excel session. There's a link in the chat to those. Okay, I'm going to take a few more questions and then I will show you a little bit more about those programs. Okay, is SOA exam questions similar to practice sample questions from ACTEX or Infinite Actuary? Or SOA questions, are the SOA questions harder? So generally, I find that the SOA sample problems are a little bit easier than other sources of questions, but they're still great to do. You should definitely do them. But generally, I recommend doing questions from a variety of different sources just because that's what's going to make sure that you are as well prepared as possible for the real exam. So generally, SOA questions are a little bit easier, but they're still absolutely necessary for you to do. Okay, is VEE credit important to start internship or a job? Generally, no. Employers don't tend to care too much that you've met the VEE requirements. I actually don't recommend you even do those until you've already got a full-time job, because a lot of the time an employer will pay for you to get those credits. If you already have them, that's great. Put them on your resume, but a lot of the time that won't hold you back from getting a job or an internship. Okay, Gina says, the SOA has a list of all the actuaries that are part of the SOA with their emails. Does CAS have anything similar? I was able to get at least a list of companies that employ SOA this way. I also want the CAS. Okay, so the SOA is the Society of Actuaries and CAS is Casualty Actuarial Society. I am not sure actually if CAS provides a list of emails. Honestly, I'm surprised the SOA does because I'm sure people on that list get emails all the time from people. So sorry, I'm not sure about that. I'm guessing the answer is no, though, if you haven't been able to easily find it. I don't know if I'm finding all the jobs. Oh, I already answered that question. Okay, here's one. Do employers see a difference between a candidate with a 3.7 versus another with a 4.0? I highly doubt it. It's at that point, it's going to come down to things like experience, your personality that comes through in your interview, things like maybe your exams. It's not going to, a 3.7 and a 4.0 aren't going to make much difference in whether you get an actuarial position or not. Okay, one other question I'll take for right now. Are there unpaid actuary internships? I honestly haven't heard of any unpaid ones. That doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't available. You may be able to, and this, I did see someone do this. Oh, sorry, there's my cat. I did see someone actually do some volunteer work for a very related position before, and that was really, really good to have on their resume because it was related. And they didn't even have to get hired. They just volunteered for the position and it gave them really good actuarial experience. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to get actuarial internships that are unpaid and voluntary, but getting related experience that way can be a really good thing to do. Okay, very quickly, I'm going to hop into the study strategy program. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Okay, so each member of the study strategy program gets their very own workbook exactly like this. It will have all the information here about you, and this workbook is on Google Sheets, which means that whenever you make a change to the workbook or whenever I make a change to the workbook, we can both see each other's changes right away. So what I wanted to show you was the daily goals aspect. This is what I think that you should do, or if you join the study strategy program, you'll have this already planned out for you. But as you can see here, I've assigned specific tasks to do every single day. So when these calendars are specifically personalized for you, so your schedule will be different than this one, but this is just an example. So as you can see, there's specific tasks assigned every single day. And when a member comes in here, they can, once they're finished this task, you can just use this to mark it as complete. And that way I will see that they've completed that task and you'll be able to keep track of your progress there. On Mondays and Thursdays, you'll see that they are orange. Those are check-in days. That's when I'll be coming into your calendar and I'll be making sure that you are on track with your studying. That added in accountability is really going to make a difference in your studying and your ability to pass exams quickly. So you can set up something exactly like this so that you know that wherever you are right now, you have specific tasks to do every single day so that by the time your exam day comes around, you're fully prepared for your exam. So that is the daily goals tab. There's also this tracking tab that I have for members of the study strategy program. So I can show you, but further down here, we start doing question blocks. And these are blocks of 15 questions. And let's say that the member does this question. They can mark it right, and then they can mark this one wrong if they get it wrong. And these are all practice questions that they're doing. So on this question block, the member is aiming to get at least 50% of the questions right. So if we go like this and they fill them all in, you see that the score comes back and they got 67%, which means that they got higher than they needed to, which is great. So eventually, each member will go through all of the question blocks here, and I'll be monitoring their progress. I'll be looking at these scores all the time to see if I need to change the tasks in the daily goals. And that means that they'll always be focusing on the task that is most important for them. So sometimes people have trouble with these question blocks. And when that happens, there are things that we can do and adjust your schedule in order to make sure that you improve on your question blocks. So the study strategy program is very interactive. I'm constantly monitoring how you are specifically doing and updating your daily goals to make sure that you're always focusing on the tasks that are most beneficial for you. In the study strategy program, you also get access to the podcast. There are Q&A forums where you can ask questions on any math-related question that you have. So if you are using the ACTEC study manual, or maybe you're using TIA, I don't know why this isn't loading right now. If you're using TIA or if you're using ASM, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be able to ask any questions that are math-related in the Q&A forums. So as you can see, we have tons of questions already asked here on exam P and FM. There are over 1,300 questions that have already been asked on all types of, from all sources. So it doesn't just have to be specific to one source. There's tons of questions here about the SOA sample problems. There's so much more. There's study strategy videos here that you can watch. There's also a studying advice section. So if you're having trouble, maybe you're feeling burnt out from studying, you can go here and have a read through that. There are just so many different things that I've already helped people with that they're needing advice on. Maybe it's memorizing formulas or time management. If you're having trouble with anything, you can go here and look what advice that I give for your specific problem that you're having. Okay, so that is the study strategy program. Okay, I'm going to answer a few more questions here. Stop sharing. Okay, I am back. Okay, if you have any questions about the study strategy program or the job search program, please don't hesitate to ask in the Q&A section. Remember, use Excel 1 at the checkout in the coupon code box to get your free access to the Excel session included. And that's $100. That Excel session is going to be over $100 for someone to buy and get into the access. But for anyone that joins the study strategy program or the job search program today or tomorrow, you'll get that free. Okay, some more questions here. You guys have lots of questions. That's awesome. Okay, IFM study guide 2. I offer the study strategy program for IFM only for members that have worked with me for exam P or FM. So if you haven't already worked with me for one of those exams, then unfortunately I don't offer the IFM program yet. It's coming, but not currently right now. Answered. Will you give tips in a later video for how to do good interviews? I haven't actually decided. What I'm going to do trainings on next. Like, I only know what I'm doing right now, and I don't know what's going to be next week or the week after. So at some point I may do a training on how to do good interviews. More likely it'll be on how to create a good resume though. And I might, when I do one about how to create a good resume, I'll probably talk a little bit about interviews in that one. So you only offer IFM for those who did P or FM with you. Yes, currently that is the situation. Eventually, hopefully in the beginning of 2020, I will be offering IFM for people that haven't worked with me. But for right now, I'm kind of working with people that I've already worked with before so that we can get a really good process laid out. Like in the study strategy program, I really want to make sure that members have the best chance of passing. So I'm constantly reiterating and making things the best they can be. For Exam P and FM, I've worked with so many people that I already know that process is really good and it helps people pass. But since I don't have as much experience with people writing IFM, I haven't yet offered that publicly yet because I want to make sure that the IFM program is really as good as it possibly can be and helps give people the absolute best chance to pass the exam the first time around. Okay, how much is your job search program, Bria? I'm interested. I'm a current member for Exam P and will be for FM. If you are in the study strategy program already, you can go to your membership and you already have access to the job search program. You can't do the study strategy program and the job search program at the same time, because I highly recommend that you concentrate all your time on either your exam or your job search. But actually, when you join one membership, you get access to both of them, and then we can work on them at separate times. So Lydia, you already have access to that. Okay, here's another one. If someone uses only the sources such as ACTEX and ignores other textbooks, is that enough? I've never heard anyone refer to studying for exams using textbooks. How come? Yes, ACTEX is enough to pass Exam P. I would recommend ASM for FM, but you certainly can use ACTEX for FM. The difference is that the textbooks that the SOA has on their recommended textbooks or something like that, those textbooks go through everything that you need to know for the exam, but the study manuals are so much better because they've really, I guess, made the material specific for Exam P. So they've included questions in their manual that will be like the questions that you'll get on the exam. Whereas the textbooks, if you only look at one of those textbooks, it may not cover all the topics on the exam. But if you go through all of the textbooks, then you're probably learning way more than you actually need to. So the study guides and the study manuals that are available that are specifically for Exam P or for Exam FM have determined exactly what topics you need to know. And they've also added in questions that are very similar to the types of questions that you'll see on the exam. So I always recommend going with the study materials that are specifically designed for actuarial exams rather than going with the textbooks that the... Sorry guys, I just disconnected again. So if you have any more questions, I'll stick around for another 5 minutes. Type them in the Q&A section again. Sorry, they all disappeared on me again. Last time I'll say this, just remember, if you'd like to join the study strategy program or the job search program, I'd love to work with you. The schedules that or the timelines that I set out for you today for 2020, they are quite intense. Passing 2 exams in 8 months is not going to be easy, so I'd really recommend checking out the study strategy program. See if you think it would be a good fit for you, because you need to make sure that you're giving yourself the absolute best chance of passing those exams on the first time so that you can keep up with that schedule. Remember, employers are going to start looking for actuarial candidates around October to December, so you want to make sure that you're starting now and making sure that you're starting your studying so that you will be already prepared. You'll have those 2 exams by the time October comes around and employers are looking. So make sure that your job search is a priority, make sure that your exams are a priority, make sure that learning Excel is a priority, and you're going to be in a really good position by the end of the year. But you have to make these priorities. Invest in yourself and make sure that you are in the best possible position that you can be by the time employers start looking to hire. Okay, you can use coupon code Excel1. I will put that in the comments again because I don't know if you guys can see it or not anymore because all the chat went away and all the questions went away. There you go. Okay, so use coupon code Excel1 so that either tonight or tomorrow so that you can get access to the free 2-hour online live Excel training that I'm going to be doing in 2020. There'll be lots of opportunities for you to join that. I'm going to be doing several of them, but by joining the study strategy program or the job search program tonight, you'll be able to get free access to one of those sessions. Okay, more questions. Which study guide is best, ACTEX or Etched? I'm not 100% sure what this question is asking. Etched Actuarial is my company. I don't have any study materials, but I do highly recommend the ACTEX study manual if you're studying for exam P, or if you're studying for exam FM, then I recommend the ASM study manual. Those are what the majority of people use in the study strategy program. So I know that those ones are really good. Coaching Actuaries is another good option for exam P and FM, and a lot of members of the study strategy program use that as well. Okay, next question. I am planning to write my first SOA exam in the summer, but I would like to buy a study guide as soon as I can. Okay, that's a good idea. That wasn't really a question, but I definitely get your study materials. If you're planning to write in summer, I would ask you why you're waiting. If you want to be well prepared for a job that employers are going to be hiring in October and onwards. So if you want to pass exams so that you're ready for those jobs, then you should try to pass exam FM sooner. But if you really can't make that work right now, then I completely understand. I'm sure you're very busy. But definitely getting the study materials is a good start. For FM, I'd recommend you get ASM or the Coaching Actuaries bundle, which includes their Learn product and Adapt. How long does the job search program last? The job search program lasts until you find a job, so it's paid month to month. So we're continually working on doing whatever we can to get you a job. So we'll be going through the resume course. I'll be reviewing your resume, making sure that it's as like the best it can be for the positions that you're applying for. We'll be creating cover letters because cover letters are important. You want to make sure that you're talking about the right things in your cover letters and really helping you stand out. So the job search program it lasts as long as you need it to last because we're going to keep on working towards getting you that job. Okay, if getting an actuarial internship opportunity is not likely in summer 2020, what alternative path positions companies do you recommend looking into? So if you don't feel that you can get an actuarial position for summer 2020, I'd recommend working on your exams. That would be my #1 priority for you. Like I said, in that timeline that I provided earlier, you should try passing exam FM and exam P if you haven't already passed those. Learn Excel, that's another major thing that you need to do. And the related positions that I would suggest looking for are anything to do with data analysis, statistics related jobs, underwriting positions, jobs in insurance companies where you'll get a good understanding of how insurance works, jobs that are heavily reliant on Excel, or that you'd get a really good understanding of Excel and know how to use that really well. Those are generally the type of jobs that are going to be most related to actuarial work, but a lot of jobs in finance and related positions like that, they can be linked back to actuarial work too. So what's most important is showing employers how your experience is related to the types of work and the positions that they are hiring for. Where can you get the study material? You can go to actuarialbookstore.com or actexmadriver.com. They're the only places I would trust to buy study materials for actuarial exams. So that's actuarialbookstore.com or actexmadriver.com. Is it true that some employers may hire you based on how you communicated during interviews, as opposed to primarily focusing on your personal achievements with regard to the actuarial role? I think most employers would probably take a mixture. So your past experience and how you display that on your resume is going to often be what gets you the interview. And then your interview skills and your communication skills are what will get you the job. So if you are finding that you're getting interviews, then it's probably, your resume is probably okay. But if you're not getting job offers out of those interviews, then it's probably your interview skills that you need to work on. Is data science intern similar to actuary? Yes, I would definitely apply to that position if it's available somewhere. That would be a good one. Okay, does the ASM study guide also have online videos, solved exams, and can we ask questions online related to ASM guide sample questions? I don't think the ASM manual comes with someone to ask you questions. If you join the study strategy program, there's a whole Q&A forum where you can ask any of your ASM related questions and they'll get answered within 24 hours. But I don't believe ASM has their own place that you can go to ask questions. They do not have online videos either. If you're looking for online videos, then you'll want to either join Coaching Actuaries or TIA. And for FM, ASM is something that study strategy programs often use. I'll start that over. For exam FM, ASM is a study manual that study strategy program members often use, but it doesn't include videos. So if you're looking for something with videos, then you're going to want to go with Coaching Actuaries probably. That's been what most study strategy members do. Okay, will doing a master program in mathematics, statistics, or data science be a bonus for getting a job? Typically, I don't really think that master's degrees helps in getting an actuarial job. What I'd rather you focus on is getting that related experience, passing exams, and learning Excel. And I think those three things will help you get a job. Typically, a master's program won't help much. The only reason that it may help a little is if you had a poor GPA in school, in your undergraduate degree, but typically that's not something I would suggest you focus on. Okay, last question here, and then we are done. Oh, this is not a question, it says. This is not a question, but I learned almost all I know about the actuarial profession from your videos. I've watched them all, and I was able to find out about Coaching Actuaries and a technical skills course from TIA, so thank you very much. Yeah, you're very welcome, Gina. I'm so glad that you found all those videos. For those of you that haven't watched all my YouTube videos, I have a whole Etched Actuarial YouTube channel where there are tons of videos, and also you can go to my website, etchedactuarial.com, and look at all the blog posts. There are tons of blog posts about becoming an actuary, tons of videos on YouTube about becoming an actuary, so definitely go check those out. Okay, that is all for questions today. Thank you so much for joining this training. I hope it helped you. I really wish you all good luck in your job search. Remember, if you'd like to join the study strategy program or the job search program, either today or tomorrow, you can get free access to my Excel training sessions in 2020. Excel is going to be an awesome skill for you to have on your resume. So if you are interested in either of those programs, this is the best time to join. And I hope to see you in one of those programs. Okay, I will leave the chat up for a while so you can go check out those programs. I'll post them again. There you go, everyone. So study strategy program, you can get step-by-step guidance on passing your first actuarial exam, and that's the quickest and the easiest way to get those exams passed so that you're not making mistakes and you have the accountability so that you don't fall behind on your studying. And if you are looking for a job, I'd love to help you in the job search program so that we can work together, create a resume that really stands out for employers no matter what your experience is, and then we can gradually work on making sure that you are the best candidate you can possibly be, right at the top of all those candidates that are actually getting the jobs up there. Okay, bye guys. It's been so fun talking to you. Bye.